What is up, tankers? Spang here, bringing you a requested video, a tank tutorial on the IS-8. Now, I received a comment recently from one of you basically asking me if I could provide you with some tips and tricks for the IS-8. I'm not quite sure how helpful I will be, but I will do my best. Now, I do currently have a Hitskins mod installed to show you a little bit better just exactly what are the strengths and weaknesses of the IS-8. Here, as you can tell, I'm going to just do a little bit of elaboration. Any spot you see these little checkerboard patterns, those are weak points on a tank. Now, it's the typical weak spots you would suspect. The underbelly, hatches, anywhere there's any sort of hatch or any underplating, that is typically where you will find a tank is its softest. That's where you can typically get through their armor. Now, the IS-8 really doesn't have armor in general. If you look over here, it only has 120 frontal hull armor. That's not very much. Yes, it's sloped, but at the same time, it's not going to save you that much. Now, especially versus other tier 9 tanks. It might bounce lower tiers, but certainly not tier 9s or 10s. So in a battle against your own tier and even some of the tier 8s, you're lucky if you're gonna take any shots in your front and not take damage. So a little bit more elaboration. You can see in the purple, those are spots where you have a chance of your ammo rack being hit. As per usual, the turret is a typical place where your ammo rack is located. Now, it's not always the case. I'm just gonna show you an example here. Well, let's go over to the Tiger P. See, the Tiger P does not have an ammo rack in its turret. So not every tank is like that, but in general, it's a good rule of thumb that your ammo rack is located in your turret. Now, speaking of the turret, the IS-8 is like most tanks in that it has thicker armor on its turret. Most tanks play better with their hull down. Some tanks play very well with, their frontal armor, the M103 being one of them. The T110E4 being another one of them. The IS-8, not so much. Now, the T110E4, as you can tell, also has that soft underbelly. Like I said, it's a common weak point. The IS-8, though, it is a faster moving tank. It is meant to play a bit more like a medium, which means you use that speed, you use that maneuverability to get behind and on the sides of your enemies. Kind of while your team is engaging them on one front, you move to another location and hit them from two sides. You get them trapped in a pincer movement. That is typically the way you play your IS-8, but you can't always play it that way. In those cases where you cannot and you have to fight your enemy head on, try to find some place where you can only pop out your turret and try to get shot there. Now, like I said, you aren't impervious in your turret. You can still take damage, as seen by these hatches on the top. You get shot there, you're going to take damage. I mean, even if you get shot here, it's still kind of likely that you'll take damage, but not too much. Like I said, you have 201 turret armor, and that's before you take into account the slope. So it's very effective when only shooting its turret. Now, if you want to take notice of something, I would say that I don't have the upgraded engine or the upgraded turret, and I still do very well in my IS-8. You want the gun. You want this gun as soon as you can get it. This tier 10 122, the M62-T2. That is the gun you want. That is your first upgrade you should be going for. Now, if I recall correctly, you cannot get it without first getting the tracks and upgrading your suspension. It's been so long, so please forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but that is typically the case with most tanks. Now, for me, since the IS-8 is a faster moving tank, I have the vertical stabilizer Mark II on there. Helps me fire on the move a little bit better. Large caliber gun rammer is always a good idea for tanks that have, it lets you fire off that shell just a bit sooner, which sometimes that makes all the difference between you living and you dying. And then ventilation. Those are my three little equipment additions I like to make to this IS-8. Yours is, whatever you want to choose, that's fine by me, but those are the three I prefer. I know some people like the gun laying drive so they don't have to aim as long. I know some people kind of, actually I'm going to take that back out. No, anyone who goes for these torsion bars. But like I said, it's all a matter of preference. Coated optics might be useful if you like to spot things. It's all a matter of preference. Now, like I said, your biggest help in the IS-8 is going to be getting this gun, this nice looking, 122 millimeter that will basically give you an average penetration of, I think it's 260 something, 268 average penetration, 440 average damage. So that will certainly give you a nice little edge over pretty much everyone else. Well, I shouldn't say everyone else, but it will let you take on tier 9s and 10s, and it will let you dominate tier 8s and anything lower. So it just definitely, like I said, prioritize your upgrades. I always go for the gun first if I can. You can't always do that. Sometimes you have to go for the tracks, but you always go for the gun as quickly as possible. I cannot stress this enough. Now, like I said, the IS-8 you want to play in a hold down or in a flanking capacity, in a medium type of play style. It does not have the armor to really go toe to toe and bounce those shells. So and if you want to be bouncing shells, like I said, take those shots to your turret and don't let them shoot your hull. As you can tell, the IS-8 is sloped like this, which means you're best off facing front. If you angle your tank at all, you make one of these sides flatter. That's all there is to it. So just like the IS-7, you want the IS-8 to be facing forward when fighting an enemy, because that means these slants work to your advantage. Otherwise, you just kind of flatten it out. Again, that little bit of information, will it save you? Maybe not. Like I said, it's only got 120 armor on its front, so it's not really that well armored to begin with, but every little bit helps. Now let's go to my service record and just show you I do pretty well with the IS-8. Like I said, you don't need the turret or the engine upgrades. I have a 59% victory rate and only 39% defeats. So really, I do pretty decently for myself. I survive almost half my battles. You can't always live, but at the same time, the biggest thing to note is my average experience per battle, 851. Even with premium, that is a pretty good average experience. I mean, that's kind of like if you look at my GW Tiger, I didn't even get close to that. My M103, not even that good, and I love my M103. My T30, almost there. And I loved my T30. So average experience, pretty good. So in general, if you know what you're doing with the IS-8, you can do very well for yourself. I have 4 Confederates, 1 Top Gun, a steel wall miraculously, 2 defenders, and 9 snipers. So doing well for myself. I even managed to get a kamikaze. I can't remember what I got that on, but I crashed into some tier 10 tank and he went boom. Yeah, I suppose that's all the advice I have to offer on the IS-8. If you have anything you would like to add, please add it in the comments below. And I hope I was helpful to, you guys, especially the person who asked the question. And if you have anything else you want me to give a short tutorial on, any of the tanks you see in this garage, or maybe a tank I have worked on at one point, I might be able to help you out with. But at the same time, I do have a somewhat limited knowledge. I have not played all the tanks, and not only that, several patches have come out since I've played some of them. So keep in mind, I may be limited in how well I can help you, but in general, like I said, I will do my best. I hope this IS-8 tank tutorial was helpful, and so with nothing else left to say, if you like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe, and as always, if you got a replay or a video or really anything, you can send it to spanglereplays@gmail.com. Email is in the description. And as always, this has been Spang, and I'm signing off with a tank gun shooting at you. Bye.